lovelies, my name is Jessica and welcome to Makeup.misfit, and this is my bonus pan videos number 2. And if you haven't seen the first one, that'll be down in the description box. I have started a playlist, so the first one and this one will be in there, so go check that out if you are interested. But I'm very excited to show you guys my progress over the last 2 months. I am doing these videos bi-monthly just because these are the products that I have been working on throughout my collection that are not in projects. So since I'm not quite sure how many products I'll be able to pull into this video each month, I figured doing it bi-weekly should give me enough to get a decent length of video, since I don't want to do a video if there's only like 2 products or something like that. So I'm going to be doing these bi-monthly, and I'm very excited to show you guys where I'm sitting at today. So like I said, these are all of the products that are not in any projects. One of these products actually was, but because my goal was just a usage goal and not to actually hit pan or anything like that, I did include it in here just because I did happen to hit pan on this product while I was working on it within my usage goal. So technically it's a bonus pan, but I'm still very excited to show you guys where I'm sitting at. So first off, I'm going to show you guys all the products that I had hit pan or completed in February, and then I'm going to move on to March. So first and foremost, let's not move that around. Okay, so first and foremost, I have a bronzer that I am still working on today, but this is my bronzer from Sephora, and I'm going to post photos of what products looked like when I first had hit pan on them, and then show you guys where I'm sitting at today. So this was something that I hit pan on back in February. And I believe I started using this, I want to say October or November. It is a winter shade for me, but I really do enjoy using this, and I like pairing this with another bronzer, which you will see later on. And as of today, this is where I'm sitting at, and I'm very happy with the progress. You can see the expansion on the pan showing there, and I do feel like maybe a couple, 2 to 3 months, I feel like this bronzer will be out. So there is a possibility that you will see this in the next update. If not, it will be for sure the one after that. And by that time, it'll be the end of July, so right in the smack dab middle of summer. So I'm really hoping that since this is a winter shade for me, I can hopefully get it out before then. If not, I will more than likely just continue to work on it instead of putting it on pause and picking it up later on in the year. But we'll have to see where I'm sitting at next update and see where I'm feeling or how I'm feeling more or less. But this is very exciting. I'm so happy with this. I do try to put my brush into the whole pan, so even though you can see a lot more, I think you can see that maybe not so much with this lighting, but there is still a little bit of the embossment around this side here where it's pretty much worn away on this end. So it just happens to be where my brush ends up hitting while I'm using it, but I am trying to get more progress on this side right now just because this is hitting pretty close. So I will probably eventually have to repress this just to make sure that I'm getting a decent even amount onto my brush while I'm dipping into this one. But I'm very happy with how far this bronzer has come. So the next product, this is the one that was in a project, but like I said, I just had a usage goal. I was not planning on hitting pan. It was actually very surprising that I did, especially how soon into my usage I had hit it. So if you had seen, I believe it was my most recent Alice in Wonderland Project Pan update, you would have seen this. This is the Mac and Jeremy Scott face palette. So this is the Cheeky Volume 1 mixtape. And my usage for this was just to use it, or my goal for this was just to use it 20 times, I believe. And at use number 5, I managed to hit pan in this highlighter right here. So this is where I'm sitting at now. Obviously, I continued to use it up to the 20 times, so the pan had expanded. But from hitting the baby pan in the very beginning, I think it was the very next day when I actually noticed it, I'm still very happy with how far that highlighter has come. I do feel like I want to probably finish that highlighter up this year. So whether or not I put it into a project later down the line, or maybe you will see it in another one of these updates later on in this year, we shall see. But I would like to get really good use and finish this highlighter off this year, especially since it only took me 5 more uses to hit pan on this. I feel like I do enjoy the highlighter, so I feel like it's not going to take too long, or it's not going to be too much of an issue to try and reach for to get this out of my collection. So next, I have an eyeshadow to show you, and if you saw my bonus pan 1 video, you would have seen this and the next product I'm going to show you. So these next two are both eyeshadows, so it is a little bit of a spoiler, but the first one I'm going to show you is in this little packaging right here. So if you know what this is, then you know what shade I'm talking about in here. This is my Viseart Warm Edits palette, and I did depot it into here. Now we're gonna just ignore these 3 pans right here because these are actually from my Solstice and Midsummer palette. So what I've been doing is just grabbing some of the shades from this palette and incorporating them into those other palettes just to kind of round them off a little bit more. So technically these 3 shades are still around. They're just in my other palettes, and I needed somewhere to put the empty pans from those other Viseart palettes. So we're just going to ignore this. But this shade right here was Mars, and I am so happy to say that this is finally gone. If you've heard me talk about it, you knew just how messy and crumbly I was mentioning that it was just from the very beginning. When I actually purchased it from Sephora, I bought it online, and it was just an issue right from the start. So I'm very, very happy that it's actually out of my collection now. I do feel like it was something that towards the end I really needed to try and force myself to reach. I was just so frustrated with it, and I don't mind cleaning up fallout once in a while, but when it's all the time and it's a lot, and it was just like made my under eyes super, super dark, I just was not liking it too much. So I managed to finally finish it, and I am so happy. I'm very curious about some of the other shades in here. I do believe there's a couple, like, I think this gold shimmer should be fine, but this one I'm a little nervous about, so I'm sure it'll be okay, but I'm just like not wanting to use them right now. So that's one eyeshadow down. And for my second eyeshadow, I was using my Tarte Tartiest Pro palette, and I was using the shade Classic, which I was using to set down my lids. So when I hit pan on this back in January, I continued to use it because if you've heard me mention, I use my cream shades one at a time until they're completely finished. And this has been completely finished. I was so happy when I reached that because this palette I was really hoping to get a lot more use on as a whole as I was reaching for Classic, but I never did. I feel like I probably reached for this corner here a couple of times, but other than that, I did not really touch this eyeshadow palette. At the time, I was also just starting my Panless eyeshadows, and I did have a couple of other eyeshadow projects going, my Pan That palette, my Panning Solitaire, plus I've been rolling in shades for a couple of my other projects. So it has been a little bit overwhelming. So I really didn't reach for this palette as a whole as I would have liked to. So who knows, maybe in Panless eyeshadows somewhere down the line, this may be rolled in. But until then, I'm still very happy that I have had at least the one shade out of my palette. This is a much older palette in my collection, so I'm very happy with the progress. Even though it's a little bit, it's better than nothing. So now we're going to move on to March, and I have 3 products to show you guys here. So the very first one is going to come from this Too Faced Love Flesh Blush Palette, and if you saw my last update for Deck of Panning, I showed this to you guys because I did roll this into there in the introduction. But I did mention that I had finished off this shade. I just couldn't quite remember when. So when I had actually went to go grab my list of products, which is sitting beside me, to figure out what I needed to pull for this video, that's when I realized that I had finished this blush. That's when I realized I finished this blush. It was earlier this month. So I'm very happy that this is finally gone. If you've seen this, these two were just giving me a hard time. Once I hit pan on this one, it seemed to go a little bit quicker, even though I was using these two the exact same way, the exact same amount of times. I would pair them together always. But for some reason, this one just wanted to go away a little bit quicker, which I was totally okay with because they have been quite the journey. They are a lot more pigmented than what these 3 shades over on this side were. These were a lot lighter. So it definitely took a lot longer to A, hit pan, but to completely finish off that shade. So I am very happy that I only have half of a blush left in this palette because this is a very old palette as well, but I have absolutely loved it. I do enjoy these blushes, but let me tell you, I was so happy when I finally finished that one up. So next I have a highlighter, and if you saw any of my posts or one of my most recent posts on my Instagram account, I told you guys about my Kaleidos highlighter in Ray Ryder, and I had said that this video was going to be pretty good, and I'm very happy with the fact that I have completely finished this up. So as you saw, I posted the photo there that I had quite a large amount of pan in this. I had hit that prior to the end of 21, and I was really hoping that I could have actually had this highlighter out before 22 rolled in, but unfortunately I just did not reach for it as much as I was hoping to, so that's okay. I had no issue reaching for it over the last few months or so and finally getting the use out of it that it deserves, but it is finally gone and I'm very happy about it. I did enjoy this highlighter, but I don't think I'll be repurchasing this one, or maybe any of the Kaleidos highlighters. I am kind of trying to stick to a little bit more drugstore makeup right now, so if I do plan on purchasing anything, that's kind of where I'm looking at the moment. So any of these highlighters, there are a couple that I would like to try that I'm interested in, more specifically the two multi-chrome ones, but whether or not I actually ever end up purchasing that is a whole nother story. But I have one highlighter out of my collection and I'm very happy about that. So last but not least, I have one more product to show you guys, and this is another bronzer. So this is my Tarte Park Avenue Princess bronzer, and this is a mini. So I did hit pan in this, I believe, this month as well, and then I have gotten this far since then, so I'm very, very happy with this. I was actually hoping that I could have finished this off before this update, but I am so close. I'm not too worried about it. I know this will be completely gone for the next update, which is super exciting. I do know that I will have 3 bronzers out of my collection this year, which is just super exciting. If you saw my bonus pans 1 video, then you would know that I had finished my Marc Jacobs mini bronzer. This one will be number 2 that is out, and then this one right here will be number 3, so I'm very excited for that. I do pair these two together pretty much every day if I remember to, which more often than not I do. But the fact that this bronzer, I don't know if it's maybe just me or my bronzer, but this seems to smell like the Butter Bronzer from Physicians Formula. And I'm probably the only one, but I don't like that smell. I don't like that scent whatsoever. So I actually have the Butter Bronzer, but I was planning on decluttering it, so it's just kind of sitting on the shelf right now. But this reminds me of that so much. So I'm very excited and looking forward to the end of this bronzer. I kind of wish it would come a lot sooner than it has been, but honestly, you saw what it looked like. It's not going to take me much longer, probably a couple more weeks. For sure by the end of April, this will be completely out, and I'm so excited about it. So that will be, like I said, another bronzer out of my collection. My bronzer category is one of my smallest, so the fact that I'm just knocking them out even more, and it's only the 3rd month into the year, I'm super excited to see where that progress is going to continue on throughout this year. So that is everything. Those are all of the products that I have hit pan on. Unfortunately, this month I don't have my notebook with all of the numbers in it. I don't know where I placed it, but all I was showing you guys were the numbers for my eyeshadows, and since the only 2 eyeshadows I showed you were in my bonus pan video 1, nothing's really changing. So the way that I kind of broke it down was I had my full amount of pans or eyeshadows with pan in them, and then I kind of broke that up between the shadows that were still around but had a little bit of pan showing, and then the pans that were completely finished off. So all I'm doing is taking both of those 2 shades and moving them from shadows with pan in them to pans that are completely finished. But because I have hit no new bonus eyeshadows this month or this update, the full amount of eyeshadows still stays the same. I hope that makes sense. So if I can find it, I will put the numbers down below just so you guys can see where I'm sitting at right now. But I'm so excited, like I said, to just continue to get use on my collection without feeling like it needs to be in a project. And because sometimes I feel a little bit overwhelmed knowing that I'm trying to focus on those products over everything else, even having a little bit of pan or finishing up a small eyeshadow is just kind of helping me know that I'm able to still get the use on my collection as a whole and not worry about whether or not it's in a project. So I'm happy with where I'm sitting at. Let me know down below what you guys think. How long do you think it's going to take me to finish this bronzer? I'm super curious. I know for sure it'll probably be at least 2 to 3 months, but I'm hoping by the next update it will be gone. And thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you all later. Bye.